We begin with some breaking news tonight. 2 people have been arrested for allegedly making threats against LGBTQ students at East Valley schools. Good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM 2 News at 5. I'm Mark Hanrahan.
And I'm Whitney Ward. All eight East Valley schools were closed today because of those threats that were made on social media. We want to turn now to KREM 2's Kyle Simchuk, who is live with the very latest tonight.
Well, in addition to being arrested, those students have been expelled. The sheriff's office served search warrants at their homes early this morning, and detectives tell us that a third suspect has also been identified but not yet contacted because he's currently out of state. Now, the sheriff's office says the threats, along with statements and depictions of firearms, were mentioned in a group chat on Snapchat. The district and authorities were first notified around 10:45 last night. The East Valley School District says while no victims were named, the suspects threatened to harm students who identify as LGBTQ+. As a precaution, the district closed all schools today, and at this point, 2 students are being charged with threats to bomb or injure property, and those are felony charges. The sheriff's office says since none of the potential victims were aware of these threats, it does not meet the elements of a hate crime charge, but additional arrests and charges are possible. The sheriff's office says hate against any group will not be tolerated. They're also asking parents to just talk to their kids and remind them that threats or comments they make on social media have very real-world consequences and can lead to their arrest and felony charges. Reporting live in East Valley, Kyle Simchuk, KREM 2 News.
Very important reminder, Kyle. Thank you. And this afternoon, the East Valley Superintendent, Brian Talbot, issued a statement about those threats.
The statement reads in part, quote, "Aside from being your school district superintendent, I'm also a father. As both, I feel compelled to share my raw heart today. The intolerance, ignorance, and hate that sometimes comes to and through the schoolhouse doors is horrific at best. It is the same hate, intolerance, and ignorance displayed throughout society on any given day. After all, schools are but a microcosm of society."
And it continues saying this incident does not define East Valley. He says this is not who we are or who we wish to be. We will continue our efforts to educate and practice acceptance. Hate has no place in East Valley. He says, I stand with, and in this case, in front of our students against hate. You can read the full statement on KREM.com. We also have more breaking news at this hour. Little Rock, Arkansas has just been hit by what is being described as a catastrophic tornado.
After severe storm warnings throughout the state, a tornado has confirmed just before 2:30 this afternoon. The University of Arkansas for Medical Sciences has declared a level 3 mass casualty event, but we are unsure right now exactly how many people are injured or dead at this hour. This is a developing story. We will continue to bring you updates just as soon as we learn them. In our other top stories this evening, more than 6 years after his arrest, the Spokane Valley man is facing a judge to determine whether he is competent to stand trial.
Vladimir Pavlik is charged with the attempted murder of his wife after police say he beat her unconscious and cut out her tongue in 2016. Pavlik has had numerous competency and mental evaluations since his arrest in 2016. He's been sent to Eastern State Hospital for mental health multiple times, and he has been found incompetent as well as competent by various different doctors. Pavlik's defense attorney asked for this competency hearing, arguing that his client doesn't understand the judicial system or the charges against him. However, a psychologist who evaluated Pavlik last fall determined he is competent and may understand far more than he lets on.
My impressions were along the lines that, based off of historical data, his response style within the context of the evaluation and his time at Eastern State Hospital suggests he may have been making efforts to exaggerate symptoms.
The judge will have the final say on whether Pavlik's trial can move forward. Well, the Pend Oreille County Sheriff's Office identified the remains of a Montana woman who vanished nearly 60 years ago.
This is actually the second cold case victim in the Inland Northwest in less than a week that has been identified by Othram Labs using new DNA technology. The Sheriff's Office says Mildred Hubbard's remains were found by a hunter north of Newport back in 1982. At the time, she'd already been missing for 14 years. Multiple agencies examined the remains, but the case quickly went cold.
With newly developed DNA technology, the skull was sent off to the Washington State forensic anthropologist, and after multiple rounds of testing, they determined the skull belonged to Hubert's. The details surrounding her death are still unknown. For that full story, just head to our website, KREM.com. Well, there will be no charges filed against the Spokane County Sheriff's deputy after he shot and killed a man in Hilliard last year.
At the time, deputies say the man was wanted on a felony warrant and had backed up his pickup truck toward deputies, nearly pinning one officer against the wall of a storage unit. The Spokane County Prosecutor's Office found that Sergeant Darren Staley had reason to fear for his life when he shot that suspect. They ruled the shooting as a justified use of deadly force.
All right, let's talk weather. We finally made it to the weekend, and right on cue, storms are moving into our area for the weekend.
Always works out that way. Our chief meteorologist, Jeremy Legou, is here now to let us know just what we can expect.
Hear me out. Mark?
Yeah.
I'll trade you rain and snow this weekend for 60 and sun next weekend.
Okay, that's a fair deal.
I don't know if I can do that, but I'll do my best.
Oh, perfect.
All right, perfect. 41 degrees and rain right now. Temperatures took a dive as that rain arrived, and we've got those scattered showers spreading across much of the inland northwest. Up in the mountains, it is snow and a lot of it. Winter storm warnings in effect for Lookout Pass, Stevens Pass, Snoqualmie Pass, Blewett Pass, Sherman Pass. You get it. You head up in elevation, you're finding snow and heavy snow, and that snow persists through much of the weekend. Our first band of moisture is moving in. This isn't the frontal boundary itself, a little prefrontal activity. The main event is basically overnight. We'll see those showers continue, grow more widespread and heavier overnight. If you are a light sleeper, this likely wakes you up. It's going to be windy, rainy, and even a bit snowy at times. Notice it does look like snow falls on the South Hill. I tend to agree with it, especially early tomorrow morning on the back side of this frontal boundary. I think what starts out as rain could turn into a little bit of snow tomorrow. But with as warm as we have been and as warm as we are, it is likely a lot of that snow doesn't really stick. I do think we see less than an inch of accumulation. Most of that stays to grassy surfaces. I think when it comes to the roads, it melts about as fast as it falls. But that being said, it's snow. It's going to be April, and that likely means it is going to create some headaches on the road.